Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, I give to you the MT25. Now the MT25, it was brought into the game a few years ago, and it directly replaced the T50-2. You went T50, and then you ground for the T50-2, which was a quicker, harder hitting variant of the T50. And then they decided that was far too much fun. Even though it was Russian, they decided to take it out, and they decided to replace it with the MT25. Yeah. Thing is, if you hold in your head an image of the T50, it's about half the size of this. It's about half the width. It's about, yeah, about 2/3 of the length. It's a smaller target. It's easier to hide in bushes. It's quicker around the battlefield. And the T50-2 was amazing. Before they brought in the sliding mechanics, I don't know when it was, but it was hilarious. It was hilarious, but it also made the T50-2 a little bit broken, because you just used to drift around city maps, and it was hilarious, but obviously something needed to be done. But what they did is they made this thing, it's fat, and it was ugly, and it still is ugly to me actually a little bit. Looks a little bit like a frog. I don't know what those little things are. They're like, they stare directly into your soul. All they do with mine anyway, if I had a soul. And yeah, so I ended up with this in my garage, and I took it out for one drive, and I sold it immediately. I was like, well, that's me not doing the Russian lights ever again. I sold it immediately because it was a shadow of the T50-2. And then subsequently it's been buffed. Its traverse speed has got better. It's got a lot more speed. It was ugly looking, and it was slow. And I don't like that in a scout. The guy we're derping off against here, the French, I think it's 12 ton. I think it's the 12 ton, is it? No, it's the AMX 1357. It's probably why I've hyper focused on him actually. This is a guy with the 8 shell autoloader. Also, I usually have my map a lot bigger than that. I usually have it about there, but I was trying to fiddle with the settings on the replay, and it made it small. So yeah, I'm not a tiny map noob. I'm a large map noob. But yeah, so that's probably why I've hyper focused him. I've been on that little ridge line there, kind of lighting up people over yonder, and spotted this guy, or this guy has come to try and dig me out, and I thought, well, I have to try and take him out, because he's a dangerous opposition. 8 shells. Who needs 8 shells? Who needs 8 shells in an autoloader? It's the same as who needs 1,000,000 millimeters of armor in terms of the Japanese heavy tanks. Anyway, I digress. I'm getting mad with the AMX 13. It's probably why I YOLO'd into him actually. I was up there and I had quite a lot of health, and I saw this guy down here and I was like, no, he needs to die. And then by the time I got to 16 hit points, I was like, oh well, you need to die. You need to die more. So much like the fat opera singer. You see them waddling down the street and you're like, oh, what the fuck is this? But every now and then, it's capable of some beautiful things, and that's what the MT25 is like. It grew on me a lot, and I'm glad that I kept it, even though I'm outmaneuvering myself there. It's got good traverse. It's got good speed. You can you keep a lot of speed as you're traversing as well. As we did quite an aggressive U-turn there, and we're still at 44 kilometers an hour. So it's capable of some brilliant things. Doesn't have any gun depression though. Be wary of its gun depression. I think I was locked onto this guy at this point, and I assumed that I'd be able to dink one into him. As nope, to the moon, all the way to the moon, that one. And so and think he must be reloading. Because I've not had any shots from him. And then, time for the thumbnail. Mid-air shot. Get it on target. Wait. Get your red down. Alright. And so that kind of needed to happen. It's a 1357. They've got 8, count them, 8 shells. Fucking autoloaders with 8 shells. Bane of my life. And that is the French autoloaders are the ones that you are here to cancel out. Because you're quicker than them, you're more maneuverable than them, and if the poop really hits the fan, you can ram them to death. And that is where the weight and the traverse of this tank is brilliant. And I've come to like it quite a lot. So much so, in fact, that I've unlocked the LTG and I've put a new crew in the LTG. I want to keep my current crew in the MT25. Anyway, speaking of current crew in the MT25, let's go and have a look at it in the garage, shall we? So, a quick look in the garage to analyse the MT25. It's firepower. It's not brilliant. It's not brilliant, but it doesn't need to be brilliant. The MT25 is a scout tank, a light tank, and it excels in that role. Push your concealment up to about 30, grab vents, coated optics and binoculars, sit yourself in a bush and just light the enemy team. You can do 2,000-3,000 worth of assisted damage without even ever firing your gun, without ever revealing your position. And if your teammates can fire upon the enemy team without getting anything in return, that kind of trade of HP is what wins games. And so you have to be very disciplined to play a light tank, because the amount of times I've seen a tank on 2 HP or 4 HP, and the temptation to kill it and reveal my location has been, it's been high. It has been high. However, you've got to believe in the system. You've got to sit in that bush, be one with the bush, and continue to light targets as they make themselves available. Mobility is very good in comparison to the next tier up, the LTG. This is sluggish. I thought when I first got into the MT25 that it was sluggish, but when you make the next jump up to the LTG, it's going to be a disappointment to you. There'll be a video coming out on the LTG fairly soon, I expect, but I want to wait with the LTG until I've had a few more matches with it. I mean, I've got a decent win rate with it at the moment, but it doesn't feel as good. It doesn't feel as fun as the MT25. When you are top tier with the MT25, you can utterly dominate a game. When you're top tier with the LTG, not so much. Not so much. Concealment. As long as you can push your concealment up to about 30, you're good to go. You're good to go. And in the first few games with this tank, I didn't have concealment on these three. I had to push. I had repairs actually. Repairs on this guy, and this guy as well. Still has them because he was lagging behind. So I've got to get this number up to 40. If you get your second skill up to 40, then when you go to retrain, to reset your skills for, I mean, you can do it for gold and get 100%. But if you're going to do it for 20,000, at the moment, I would be 100% trained in skill of driving the tank. And we'd be 99% our way through the first skill. And you have to get to 40 in your second skill before this turns to 100, and you can just select whatever skill you want. And so it was like that with these three guys. They all had repairs because I dragged them from the barracks. I think they were trained up as a T150 crew, And so repairs on a light tank, repairs with being able to use your repair kit time and time again in a match, it's fairly useless, isn't it? So I had to wait until their second skills got up to 40, swap them all out for Cam. What a difference that made. Pushed our concealment up to about 30, and it was brilliant. From there on in, it was brilliant. Turned into an entirely different tank. One that I enjoyed playing lots, but then I don't mind sitting in that bush. I don't mind sitting in that bush and not doing damage directly. I don't give a toss. I don't give a fuck about WN8. As long as I win the game, couldn't give a toss. So I'm not there to do damage. I'm there to allow my teammate to do damage and maybe do a little bit of mopping up at the end. And until that becomes an actual stat on WN8, then I don't think I'm going to be doing very well on it. So let's have a look at what the MT25 has in terms of armor on tanks.gg. Tanks.gg says that if you're going to get hit, you're probably going to get penned. Probably. There are quite a few little angles though. You can see them with the hybrid. Hybrid? No, the visual. Yeah, in the visual mode, you can see the amount of angles that this guy has. So there are times where you'll get a lucky ricochet here or there. With the amount of, I mean, it's not exactly a box. It's kind of a rounded sort of box, kind of. And with enough wiggling, if they don't hit centrally, then you might get away. But it doesn't have the silhouette for ridgeline peaking. It doesn't have the gun depression for ridgeline peaking. It's very much find an MT25 sized bush and do your job from that bush. Let's have a little look at the collision. Yeah, I mean, it's got a little bit, and you might be lucky at if you're top tier. But apart from that, just no, just don't get hit. Just don't get hit. That's the best advice that I could give you for the MT25. So, Erlenberg, top tier, tier 6 down to 5, so it's not as good as we can get, but it's fairly good. It is fairly good. What are we up against? What is dangerous? They do have another MT25 out there. There is a VK3601, Skoda T25, Jagdpanzer. He's going to be able to do some good stuff on a map that is open as this. They also have an AMX ELC, which, I mean, they did get a little bit of a smash with the nerf hammer, but they're still pretty dangerous. So let's get it on, shall we? Now on Erlenberg, there are a number of places you can go, but I like to go to a clump of trees over there. And if you're starting on the other side on Erlenberg, expect there to be a scout in these clump of trees. If you play artillery, for whatever strange reason you might play artillery, your very first shot you could do with focusing up here. And if you see a tree being knocked down, just take a lucky shot. You'll at least scare them away. You'll at least, I don't know, you'll make them move. And if you can put 2 or 3 consecutive shots over here, then you might even kill something. Now why do I kill the bushes there? I kill the bushes there because if we have a look at, here we go. Let's make the map just a little bit smaller so I can properly illustrate. Now trees are weird because trees start growing like this, but they don't make any branches here, because if they make branches here they won't get enough sunlight, so they just don't bother, and they start making their branches where they can get some sun. A little bit of botanics there for you. So you've got a gap here and a gap here and a gap here and a gap here and such and so forth. So you could be on this ridgeline and you can be betrayed by this tiny gap underneath all the trees. So that is why I like to get up on this ridgeline fairly quickly and knock a tree down, because this tree here that we've knocked down is giving us full cover all the way to the floor, not just, I'm going to give cover, fuck off. Nothing, and you'll get spotted. Trust me, you'll be spotted. Between knocking a tree down and not knocking a tree down, knock the tree down when you're up here. But pretty good location. Expect there to be scouts up here, and if you spawn on this spawn and there isn't a scout up here, then scream and shout at your team and tell them they're a set of mongs, like I usually do. Jaffe wants a little bit of spotting, however. Our spotting range along with our binoculars means that we can see almost to Jupiter. Almost. Let's go to T25. He'll be fairly dangerous. We don't have anyone in deep. Unfortunately, this T67 that's made his way into the centre of the map should really have pulled out onto this side here. He could probably fired from deep, from about here, through double bushes, double trees, and probably not have been spotted. Now, I'm kind of expecting a push here because they've got a lot of people. They've got a lot of mediums and lights congregating in this area, and so I think I'm on the verge of bugging out of this location and going to the left side of the map and trying to spot for these guys. But we stay here. We stay here. I think I might get a little bit bored soon. And if my team aren't doing enough damage, then I'll probably pitch in with a little bit. Not that the MT25 can do much. Its gun is fairly accurate. I'll give it that much. It's fairly accurate and it's got decent pen. It's just it doesn't do enough alpha. But you're a light tank, and in terms of light tanks, it's not their job to do the massive alpha, is it? It's their job to enable others. And we haven't been doing much enabling this match. Not really. Not done much spotting. Spot the Jagdpanzer in deep. Decide to go for him, I think, because he will be lighting up these guys in front. We'll be lighting up these guys, the Churchill, the SU-100. And I decide that the Jagdpanzer is the dangerous target there. We're back. I'll probably still be on. No, now I've dropped out of radar range now. Dropped off their radar. Should have done anyway. Unfortunately, don't manage to take out the Jagdpanzer. However, he has lost enough HP. And I don't think he's going to poke that location any longer. Which means these mediums and lights in front of us are on their own. If we look at the other side of the map, it's a little bit sparse. The Matilda's moving up and asking for help. Oh, I don't think you're going to get much help there, mate. The T67 has died. I know, probably crashed into a tree. They're powerful if they can be squirreled away somewhere behind a bush. However, a T67 out in the open is usually the focus point for everybody to fire at. So shave a good amount of health off that Skoda T25. I wouldn't be surprised if the Churchill goes and finishes him off. I think I spot a Churchill in town at this point. And try to get shots into his side. Yep. And then after I've finished with this this Churchill, just spotted the Jagdpanzer pop up over there. Once I've finished taking shots out of this Churchill, I think that's about it for this location. I think it's served its purpose, and we decide to move on. It's getting to the end of the map, map now, the end of the game now. This is where the MT25 really starts to shine, mopping up. It's probably time to go. Is it time to go? I would have gone by now. Why aren't I going? Okay, there we go. Must have been a little bit slow today. So we hug the edge of the map. At this point, I don't think I've seen the death of the Jagdpanzer. I was looking the other way. I want to get up onto where this house is and then use the bushes to cover my approach to their cap circle. But then I see the cliff kind of area here. It's like, well, I can't go up there. I don't want to get too close behind there. So, up on top, onto the house, turn left, use the cover of these bushes to cover our approach. There is still a Swedish tank down here somewhere, because he's nowhere else on the map, so he has to be somewhere here. There he is. IKV. 2 into the side. Nope. Into the back. And the Matilda decides to steal it from us. But that's okay. I don't mind. It's a team game. There's a VK that's been spotted around here somewhere. But I'm... Oh, okay, there he is. I wonder how we didn't spot him when we were the other side of those trees then. We must have had decent sight lines to him. Alright, start chipping away at his health. Matilda is... yeah, he's busy capping. He doesn't want to get involved with a heavy tank. Not surprised. One to the side, doesn't do much. We jink his gun, get around the other side, finish him off, and then it's back to base. Thankfully the AT2 has finally reacted, somehow, and he's off to reset base. And Matilda gets taken out by the Skoda T24. We have no idea where that Skoda T24 is. So it's 3 against 3. We know where the Churchill, we know where the G1R is. No idea where the Skoda is. Also have no idea what this map is all about, so I get a little bit confused there. Use a good traverse speed to keep our speed up through this section. Don't bother loading HE for some reason. I was probably just concentrating on getting there as quick as I could. So I need to hit both of them. Take one out. Try to juke the Churchill shot. We do. It just takes hitting our tracks. One shot, which is all that we need. One hits the building behind him, but that is all we needed. Take one out. Hit the other. And now I'm wary of... I don't want to be trading with a Churchill firing APC on. So, break contact, get ourselves away, be wary of where the Skoda is, because RAT2? No, not RAT2. Our Matilda got taken out by a Skoda. So he must be up there somewhere. Probably coming towards us right now. Oh, there he is. There he is right there. And he's on full health. So we can't trade with the Skoda. I don't really want to be trading with a Churchill who's firing APCR. So we have to use what we have to our advantage, which is our epic view range. So break contact, drop off the map, drop off their view range. Try to get behind this Churchill, because we'll be using that building. Thankfully our Churchill gets shots into him. He'll be using that building as cover, or he should have been, and we finish the Churchill off there. We also spot the Skoda, who's come down to help his friend, and from here, what am I aiming at? No idea. Oh, the rear end of the Skoda. For some reason he's given me his rear end, and we just farm him to death. And that is it, without ever being spotted from this location. Without ever being spotted from this location, because of the double bush. The bush in front of us gets wiped away every time we fire a shot. However, the bushes in front of us, the trees here, and the... is that? Yeah, it's a bush. And the bush there, they retain their bushiness. And so, firing at the Churchill, never spotted. Firing at the Skoda, never spotted. And that's how you have to operate late game as a light tank, as a scout tank. Use what you have to your advantage. If it's you versus 2 or 3, then engage someone double bush, or if there's only one bush, then reverse. Nope. Then give me my pointer. Then reverse backwards so that this bush becomes. Can I not? I can't click into sniper mode again. Let's go back. There we go. So it looks like this. I've no idea why this wall thing's here. So it looks like this. If you bush in front of you looks like this, then every time you fire, you are not going to reveal your position. And that's because of the double bushness. And that will do. So let's have a little look at the post-game stats for this game. We were brilliant. We were tier 6, so we were expected to do well. So, victory at Eldenburg. I do have better replays. I have worse replays. But I wanted to upload the replay that was indicative of this tank's gameplay. And this pretty much sums it up perfectly. Getting into locations early, getting good spots on, and then having the speed and mobility to move from one side of the map to the other side of the map to do what you need to do, either reset or to aggressively cap if you need to. And then with few tanks left in the game, being able to use your insane view range and your spotting capabilities and your camouflage to good effect. That is what this tank is all about. I could have pulled up a 4,000 damage done, 2,000 spotting damage, but it'd be useless. I mean, it's once a blue moon, as with a lot of tanks. This is how it plays most of the time. Not so much with the defender. We did cut it fine in that game in terms of capping. But if you're top tier, chances are you're going to get high caliber just by nature of mopping up late game. Good stuff. And a good amount of credits earned as well. Take out the 10,000 for the mission, whatever it was on at that time, and you're still making about 20,000 per game, which it's fairly good. It's fairly good. Tier 6, I would say, is the pinnacle. If you don't have a premium account, if you don't have a premium vehicle, I would say between tier 6 and tier 7 maybe is pinnacle for if you really want to make some good money, and this tank is good for doing that. So the MT25, should you get it? Is it for you? Well, it's dependent on a few things. Now, I started playing the MT25 again because top of the tree was the Russian Lights. Russian Lights, top of the tree. All that kind of good stuff. So I was getting more experience for my crew every time I took my MT25 out. So that was the impetus to jump back into the MT25 and give it a go. And I did not like it. Jumping back into it, it wasn't really for me. But then my scouting experiences have all been kind of T71 orientated. I do like the T71, and so having something that's 8 times the size of the T71, I couldn't really get on with it. However, saying that, it has really grown on me. It is one of those tanks, one of those few tanks where you get in straight away and you think, this was horrible, but certain crew skills, certain equipment really turns the tank around, and it just takes a little bit of time getting used to it to turn what is the ugly duckling into something a little bit special. I'm hoping that the same happens with the LTG, that with enough of the skills, this turns into something that's more of a keeper, But at the moment, I don't think I'll be keeping the LTG. I will be keeping the MT25. Which says it all, really, about a tank. If you have enough fun in a tank that you're willing to keep it in your shed after you've ground to the next tank above it, it speaks volumes. So, mega good fun is my verdict on the MT25, and it's well worth picking up. Or picking up again if you ground past it at some point. But that's been me for today, ladies and gentlemen. Until next time, until the next review, do take care.